What's up, everybody? We are the Brothers Murph. We don't have time because it's time for rapid reviews.
Yes.
That's too slow.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and it is time for Cortana to turn on for some reason. We are here doing rapid reviews for you folks because another month has passed, Nick.
Another month has passed, so this is
a month of time simultaneously did not move at all and then swept by before you even noticed.
It is insane how quickly and slow time is going by.
It's weird.
But this is rapid reviews where we are going to go through all the games we played, in this case, in the month of April.
All April.
All of April. We're going through all of the different games we played, and we're going to give a quick little snippet about what they are, what we thought of them.
Quick little reviews in a rapid fashion, rapid reviews.
Indeed. Now, most of these
Share it
games...
with your friends on social media. Please. We need the help.
Now, most of these games are going to be games that we already own or games that we do like, so most of the reviews will probably be positive. But nonetheless, we've been trying to play more and more new games, and this is a great way to kind of hold us to that, you know?
Indeed. So I think without further ado,
Let's just get into it.
let's go ahead and start off with number one. Once again, our most played game this month, although it tied with another game.
Yes.
This game is The Crew. The best game of 2020, Nick, because
It's
in my
a
mind,
2019 game.
It's a 2020 game.
It is not.
I would love it.
It
for
was
me to
literally
try
the
that.
BGG Awards came out and it was nominated for a couple of things because it was 2019 awards. So you're literally wrong.
We have to amend my 2019. The Crew is a trick-taking game, a cooperative trick-taking game where you are going through space on a mission, a grand mission that goes through, 50 different little mini missions, little mini games you can play that all have different stipulations for you to win, and you're trying to trick take very specifically so that certain people win certain hands
certain orders,
and there's very limited ways you can communicate what you have in your hand, because if I say I have these cards, it makes it a lot easier to win. Go figure.
A little bit, yeah.
And so this has just been a really fun game that we discovered. We had heard about at the beginning of the year, and then finally got to play at AirCon in Britain back in March, early March, while we could still go outside.
Before the world ended, yeah.
And so we started playing it there with our group that we were kind of self-isolated with. And then we've continued to play over Tabletop Simulator since then to kind of keep the mission going, even if we are all
because we're across the world. So
Yeah.
even if there wasn't a global pandemic, we still wouldn't really play together. So
Yeah, so now we're in the 20s on the missions, and it's getting very hard.
The thing about the cruise is it's really, really great, but it's like there are some missions where the games are quick, so you lose a lot. But it's like there's times where we have to try it like 10 plus times, and then we finally get it, and it is
crack it.
incredibly satisfying when you do.
It is. We're playing
Crew's
with
great.
5 players, which is arguably the hardest player
Yeah.
count because you have the fewest cards each. If you play a 4-player game, the same amount of cards are in the deck, we each have 10 cards.
Yeah.
Instead of 8.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So
It's rough.
it's been really fun, but that is The Crew.
Indeed.
Quest for Planet 9.
Indeed. Another game we played was Quirky Circuits. Quirky Circuits is a game, it's a cooperative programming game where you are playing through a couple different scenarios, and there's 4 different robots in the game, and there's Gizmo, who's like a little cat on top of a Roomba.
The most adorable thing.
Essentially, there's Twirl, who's like this like
robot bee
gardener kind of thing, yeah. And so you're playing through these different robots, and they each have, I think, 6 different like little scenarios, and it's a programming game. So you're all working together trying to do whatever the scenario wants you to do. In the case of Gizmo, who's like the Roomba, you're trying to pick up all the dust bunnies.
Yep.
So you have to
Get the
program...
vacuum around the room in the right spot.
Yeah, you have to program him so that he does it, but you're programming it all together. Each person has to contribute 1 card to the program. The cards will either be like, turn to the left, turn around, go straight for 2, go straight for 3,
backward.
something like that. And so you all have to contribute at least 1 card to the program, and you can't communicate what you have, obviously. But the backs of the cards will tell you this is a movement card, like you're going somewhere.
It's not going to turn.
But the problem is that movement could be a 1 forward, a 2 forward, a 3 forward, or a backwards. So the thing is, Mike knows that I have 3 turn cards and 3 straight cards, but he doesn't know what those are. So you're sitting here trying to stare at each other, kind of like the mind, trying to deduce where we need to go, what we need to do. It's wacky. It's fun.
Yeah.
All 4 of the robots play totally differently.
Completely separate. Very, and they get difficult.
And they get
quick.
really hard, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. We've been painting these over on our painting stream over on Gen Con, which is actually going to move over to our Twitch. So on Wednesday mornings, check us out as we paint stuff. But as we've been painting them on Gen Con's stream and then playing it on the stream as well. And Quirky Circuits is just so darn good.
It's ace, and that was the game that tied with The Crew for the most individual plays.
Indeed.
Another tie for 7.
Indeed.
A game that I started playing for the first time
This
ever,
is all you.
because it has a digital implementation, means you can play it with people from afar, is Charterstone.
Yeah.
Charterstone is a legacy game made by Stonemaier Games that came out a couple years ago. And it's sort of a worker placement, sort of becomes worker placement / engine building game. That's a 12-game campaign. And I'm playing it with 5 other folks, all from our separate locations, once a week. And we've played through, I think, 5 of the games now. So it's super duper fun.
You played it solo too, right?
I played it solo. I played through the whole campaign solo. It's a different charter, different faction, different color.
Yeah. Are the factions different?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're different.
I don't know anything about the game, honestly.
So each faction will provide a basic income. There's pumpkins, there's bricks, iron, coal, wood.
Very Eurogamey.
Very Eurogamey. And then from there, basically you're going to be opening up crates and stuff. By building a building, you get a crate.
Pumpkins always the go-to food thing. No one eats pumpkins.
Well, you must build with them. They're very thick-skinned.
I guess.
I don't know. It's
like
cute.
I feel like pumpkins is always representing food in games. And I'm like, this is the worst thing to
There's
choose
also
for food.
grain. There's actual food, and then pumpkins,
Okay.
which maybe is decorative.
Okay, that's fine.
Anyway, so you build buildings, and if you build buildings, you get a crate, usually, especially in the early go of the game, and then you can open the crate, which will give you personas that you can use in the game, different types of buildings, different game elements. I don't want to say for folks that haven't played and want to play, but different game elements. The game kind of unfolds as you open up these crates.
Yeah.
New things to kind of play with get introduced and stuff. So it's really fun. I've been really enjoying the plays that we've had of the game so far. Like I said, I think we're 4 or 5 games in. I think we're 5 games in now. Into Charterstone. So
Cool.
I've been really enjoying the digital app implementation. They've been doing updates on the app, so it's gotten better. There have been a couple of kinks
buggies
and stuff and bugs, but it's getting smoother. There's still a couple of annoying things, but the game itself, I'm really actually quite enjoying.
Cool.
That's Charterstone.
So next one, you actually only played yourself. You got a couple here, just you, is Through the Ages. Now, you play this app a lot, but you actually played the game.
I did.
Again, digitally still, but like you didn't play just, this wasn't just the app, right?
Just the app. So I haven't to this point recorded individual plays against AIs in this. So I played a few games against people using the Through the Ages app, which is fantastic, and you can play across devices and stuff. So because it's all through Asmodee Digital, you can play. Someone's on their phone while I'm on my computer. I played a few different games and taught it to a friend, and also we started playing it on Board Game Arena. Actually, then switched over to the app. Because our buddy liked it, and it's like, I'm just getting the app, and then we can play it in there, which is even more optimized. And Board Game Arena is pretty good because it takes care of some of all the bookkeeping and scripted stuff. So do check it out on Board Game Arena if you're interested. Through the Ages is a big engine building Civ game. It's inspired by all the Civilization games and stuff. And so you're playing out cards, basically building a tableau in front of you as you move through 3 ages forward in time. And you can get different leaders and stuff, so you can get Moses and then Shakespeare, then Bill Gates, and they all have different effects. You can build the different wonders of the world, and you can build up production basically in food, kind of building resources, science, and then culture, which are ultimately your victory points. And then you're also building up your military. So it's kind of this engine builder to kill all engine builders because there's many different engines within the larger whole.
Yeah. It's very fun, though.
It's so good. And I was happy to play against people a few different times.
Going quick, the next one is going to be Architects of the West Kingdom, a worker placement, worker investment game, because the more workers you invest in spots, the better those spots get.
Yeah, you can get more and more wood the more people you have at the wood space when you go there. It's super fun, and it's all about ultimately building up resources to build out cards and work on a cathedral. You want to be an architect, right? And that's the problem with this game is I never do enough building.
Yeah.
And I always
You're not good at this game.
I'm very bad at it.
Not good. You still like Paladins West Kingdom better than this one?
Probably, but having played Architects now, it'd been a while, and I remember just how much I do enjoy.
Yeah, I really like it a lot. We just got the expansion. We haven't played it yet. Age of Artisans. I really want to try that because real excited about that. So Architects West Kingdom, really great game. A good game in that whole
nice
series.
Kind of twist on worker placement in that you can kind of invest in certain spaces, but then you also become a target if you do.
Yeah. Clans of Caledonia is next, Mike.
Ooh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's a game you're in Scotland and you just want to get sheep and cows out and about, and you want to get those cows to make milk, but then if you build a cheese factory, you can turn that milk into cheese. And so it's about getting production and spreading out and really trying to ultimately fulfill contracts. You want to get different resources and things to fulfill contracts and move forward Each round has a different little scoring opportunity as well for some in-game scoring. And so you're trying to kind of maybe focus on that. And the other thing I really love is that each clan, you'll choose a clan that each has asymmetric powers that kind of maybe gives you a direction to go.
It does. Yeah, they're very nice in that way.
But it's all about like spending your money as efficiently as you can to get as much done in a very, within the game, short period of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. So good.
Next up, Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, which I actually played. You didn't actually get to play this. I brought this home with me because my roommate really likes co-op games, and he has played Legendary before. And I've been, last month, if you watch our rapid reviews last month, I played it for the first time in a long time with our friend Crook.
For a hot minute.
And I was like, man, I want to play it again. I want to keep playing it. And so I brought it home because I knew it would get played there because my roommate David really likes co-op games.
Yep.
And so we played a couple games of it, and it's just... oh, it's so good. I love it so much. Legendary is such a good deck building game where you take 5 different heroes and you are deck building. Each hero has 14 different cards, and you can just grab cards from any hero and you're buying them.
Of your heroes.
Yeah, and you have a nice blend of your heroes. You have a Colossus working together with Captain America and all this different kind of stuff, crazy stuff. And then you're going against a mastermind and then a bunch of villains that are coming into the city. And you're essentially trying to beat the mastermind. That's what you're trying to do. And it's just kind of a straight deck builder. We just did our top 10 deck builders. Go watch that if you want to hear us talk about it in more depth. But nonetheless, it's a great game that's kind of a straight deck builder that is just got so much variability in terms of the heroes, the villains. There's so much stuff to choose from, and it's just great. Love it to death. That's Legendary, a Marvel deck building game.
A new game to both of us that we played live on stream, and I dare say is a Kitchen Rush killer. It's Rush MD, so it's similar.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sequel of sorts. It's a real-time cooperative worker placement game, this time set in a hospital where you have timed rounds, 4-minute rounds, and you have to get patients in, get them diagnosed, get them tested, and then cure them.
Heal them.
Healed. Make them healed and whole again, and then get them the hell out of your hospital. And to ultimately score different objectives and stuff. Those different win conditions, rather. You need to have a certain amount of patients healed, a certain amount of different things done, and a reputation for your hospital maintained, because if people die, weirdly, your reputation goes down.
It goes bad.
So it's just so fun because you have to get patients in, and they have an initial thing like, oh, they need an x-ray. Then you do the x-ray, which is like a little mini game, and then you're like, oh, no, this dude needs surgery. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. They need a new liver for sure. That bone punctured the spleen, and now that's not working.
It's a big issue.
And so now they have to go into surgery. So I love, in this one, the real-time nature, but the fact that you get something that then turns into something you did not expect.
Yes, it gets worse.
It keeps getting worse. It keeps changing. So now we're under the time pressure, and now there's not a ball on the field. You know, they were calling a blitz. I gotta get this ball out of here. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was so fun and frantic, but also doable. Yeah. And Kitchen Rush in some ways felt harder than Rush MD, even though Rush MD is definitely more involved.
Yes.
I don't know.
It does. It feels there's a lot of Kitchen Rush where I'm just like,
finicky things in Kitchen Rush that are frustrating.
There's no way. Well, one, you have to pay all your workers in Kitchen Rush. Apparently at this hospital, no one gets paid. But you have to pay people in Kitchen Rush, and so you can lose people if you don't pay them. And it just like, there's so many things you have to do just so you can keep your workers. Like, it's like the whole like, I like worker placement games where you have to feed your people, but I don't want I have to grind my whole engine to a halt to go over here to get some food so I can feed my people so I can continue my engine.
Otherwise, you'll be so harshly punished.
Exactly, and that's how Kitchen Rush feels. And I like Kitchen Rush, but Rush MD takes all the things I like about Kitchen Rush, expands them, and makes it so... I haven't had so much fun playing a game for the first time in a long time. We were literally afterwards just so hyped up and talking about it, how much fun it was. It was so much fun. If you like Kitchen Rush, those kind of real-time games, try Rush MD.
Take some of the finickiness out of, like, you still need to have supplies in your place, but it's all just a little easier to do because the game itself it's hard enough.
Yes.
So the game doesn't need to then punish you on top of that, which Kitchen Rush does. So for my money, kills Kitchen Rush. Rush MD is absolutely so fun.
Yeah, it's a better game. It's a better game. A new game for I actually haven't a chance to play this. We were going to play this the other day, and then stuff came up we didn't get a chance to. But you've played a couple times, and that is Stellar. A little two-player
Stellar's
game.
a little two-player card game. You're building a tableau. It's sort of set collection, ultimately. You're building a tableau out in front of you. The game will be 11 rounds. And the cool thing I really like about it is you have to do a certain actions in a certain order on your turn. Basically, you're going to draw a card into your hand. You're going to play a card from your hand, either into this tableau of this kind of kid watching a telescope. You're going to be covering it up with different celestial objects, moons and interstellar clouds and asteroids and things. And you're going to be playing a card either to that or to a little notebook, which will be a bit of set collection, which will act as a multiplier for you. And then based on whatever you play first will dictate what card you get from this row of cards that you have to play second. And it's sort of like Herbaceous, where if I play my telescope first, I have to play to my notebook second, or vice versa.
Okay.
And you're basically trying to build out certain... it's good to focus on, like, I'm going to do all black holes. And get all these different stars within my telescope. Yeah, within my telescope of all these black holes.
Just put a signpost. Don't come over here.
And then if I go on my notebook and I build a set of there's sequential numbers, and so it acts as a multiplier. So if I have like 6 stars in my telescope, and I have a 2, 3, and 4 within my little notebook of black hole cards, it's multiplied by 3 and I get 18 points. So it's kind of like that, and there's a little bit of area majority as well. So it's like a really cool, very minimal game that provides like some fun stuff to consider while not being like a complicated game. Really liked it a lot. Stellar was really cool. Want to play it with you again. Or I want to show you
for the first time. Next one, we played Wavelength. We actually played Wavelength across the interwebs with some friends because we've been trying to find games specifically with this group of friends that we play with, that we've been trying to play games that we can play across like FaceTime essentially. We played Decrypto last month with them. There's a bunch of these games, especially if you both have the games, you can get a lot of games played in that way. And Wavelength is one of them. We played Wavelength, which is a great party game where you're on teams, team game, and essentially you will have some kind of parameters. The parameter could be like super cheap, super expensive. That's the parameter. And then you have this big wheel thingy, and then you spin around the wheel, and then you reveal it just to yourself, and it'll show you a spot on the wheel.
The bullseye.
Yeah, and this is, and again, depending on what the parameter is, in this case, this side is super cheap, this side is super expensive. Let's say it's like right here.
Like right around a 9.
Right around a 9 or so. So then you have to give a clue to your team, and then they have to guess where that spot is on the wheel. So you're like, super expensive, not crazy expensive. Let's just say like
it's not a Lamborghini, that'd be a 14.
Like let's go with I don't know, like a low-end Mercedes. Like a low-end Mercedes.
Okay, a Honda Accord's like dead 7. It's probably a little more.
It's not a junker.
It's probably like a 9. It's probably like a 9,
exactly.
And then you try to get
reveal
them to get right to where you're thinking, and it's kind of based off of like, ideally, you're like, well, what would Nick think of as expensive?
It's that kind of Codenames metagaming. Where you're like,
you want to be on the wavelength.
Well, then you're like, well, what's expensive? Like he said a Mercedes. So is he staying in the realm of cars, like only cars, like a Bugatti would be tops, or is he talking about the whole world?
Buying an island is more expensive.
Buying an island is so a Merlot and Mercedes compared to buying an island is on the super cheap side. So you have to like get into that, and it gets super fun. So fun. You can totally play it across.
Yeah, there's actually someone made basically a version of Wavelength that works over a PowerPoint. And you can run a PowerPoint, and it works. That's how we played it. It works very well. We did it with a, we were doing like a Skype call, and we could share our screen so that people would see the Wavelength thing. And we totally played just our house versus their house, and it worked great. It was so fun.
There's a lot of games, but even if you didn't have that, if you had the game, you could just show and close your eyes. It would work totally fine.
Lots of ways to work it.
Really great game. A Wavelength, Wolfgang Warsch, you're just the best. Another new game for us next, another little 2-player game.
Another 2-player card game called Air, Land, and Sea. It's about war. World War II in 20 minutes.
Well, see, I don't know, because Blitzkrieg is World War II in 20 minutes. That's literally the name of that game.
This is like World War II in 40 minutes. It says 20 on the box, but it's more like 40. In this game, it's
it depends on how good. It could be 20.
It's a card manipulation.
It's kind of like Hanamakoji in a way.
Kind of like Hanamakoji. So you have 3.
It's a tug of war.
The 3. You have exactly. You have the 3 theaters of war. You have air, land, and sea. And there are cards that you're playing that will pertain to one of the 3 theaters of war, and you're basically trying to have more power on your side of that theater than your opponent to take that theater. And there's cards that allow you to flip over your cards, your opponent's cards, to negate what they have. Do all these things to basically manipulate what's out there. And it really comes down to, when do you dig in to see if you can win? Because if you go to the end of a round, whoever has the majority of theaters wins
6 points.
You win 6 points. But if I know, like looking at my cards early on, I'm like, this is not going to work out. I can retreat early, and Nick only gets like 2 points. So it's like,
and the first of 12 points
I-
wins.
Yeah, it's like, do I try to stick it out knowing that if I have to retreat late or place in the end, Nick gets a lot more points? And that was, I thought, so cool.
Yeah.
It's like you can strategically retreat. They win the battle, so you can win the war.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Simple, again, in terms of like, it's just playing these cards. Cards have powers. And do what the card says, and choosing when to play what, where, try to manipulate your opponent into playing over here so you can really get the thing you're really interested in. Very cool.
Really good game. Really, really good game.
Air, Land, and Sea. Awesome.
Air, Land, and Sea, great little 2-player game. Check it out. It's very fun. Not Heroes and Air, Land, and Sea. There are slightly different size
They're
boxes.
very opposite of one another.
Yeah. All right, number 12. We got to speed up. Bloomtown. Bloomtown. This is a very white game, and I mean white is in the color.
It's like blueprinty looking.
It kind of looks like a
not filled
blueprint.
in.
This is a kind of game where you are placing tiles. You're flipping over tiles, and they have this little bit of market, and you're placing tiles, and the tiles kind of a la Quadropolis or a lot of tile placement games. They want to be next to certain stuff. So you have like subways. You're building out a little town. Subways want to be diagonal to other subways. The more you have diagonally, the more points you're going to get. Parks want to be next to other parks. Housing districts want to be surrounded by a bunch of different stuff. Just kind of one of those tile laying games where you are
Proximity
placing
stuff
stuff.
is- yeah.
You like this game. I did not like this
That's
game.
so interesting because
I thought it was so boring.
It is like Quadropolis. I
They just played
like,
Quadropolis.
Yeah, I mean, I think Quadropolis is a better game, but one thing I liked is that this one was just sort of kept moving along, and like you play a thing and you kind of score 2 or 3 points. And
It's
like,
much
maybe
shorter,
It's
but-
much shorter, so it kind of seemed like Quadropolis with just a smoother, easier, maybe less satisfying experience, but not unsatisfying.
See, I thought
me.
it. I don't know. It did feel relatively unsatisfying for me. And it's like if you want to take that kind of feel of Quadropolis type game and then make it smaller and quicker, I just don't feel like this was that great of an implementation of it, because I like the tile placement, and I like those kinds of games where you put some stuff next to other stuff and it's better or worse, yada yada yada. But there was these times where like these other tiles would come out and they would score, and you would score like all your parks, and it was just like a lot of them came out in the very beginning, and so they didn't score anything, and it just felt like this whole
Yeah, that
scoring
was a
thing
little
was
weird.
so random and just inconsequential. And maybe it was just a bad pull the couple times we played it, but it was just like, I don't know, I did not like it. I thought I was going to like when I read the rules. I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty cool. Like, this seems cool. And I thought it was, ugh.
That's so interesting because the whole time I'm kind of like, this is fun. Nick at the end's like, I hated that. I was like, really?
I
I
did
thought
not
we were
like
having
it
the
at
same
all.
good time. I liked it for my
That
money.
was-
And for my money, it's good. I think it's good. It's light. It moves on, and yeah. I mean, it's not a game.
Move
It's not a
on
game changer.
out of this house, as far as I'm
We'll see.
concerned.
We'll
Yeah.
see if Karen likes it. It's staying here.
That's the thing, really talk. Next game we played was Railroad Inc. I actually played this with on Tabletopia. I played it with our patrons. If you're not one of our patrons, we usually every week or every other week, one of us will play a game with our patrons on Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, so that we can just hang out with their patrons for that. So this is one of those things where I played with the patrons. I played Railroad Inc.
Yep.
And I've been wanting to play it on Tabletopia because of the fact that like it's I thought it was an interesting online adaptation of this game, and it works great. Railroad Inc. is a game where you're rolling out 4 die. The die will have either railroads or highways on them.
Yep.
And it'll be like a highway that's on a curve, or like a railway that's like a T, stuff like that. And you're essentially trying to make these routes, trying to touch the edge of the boards as much as you possibly can. Then you're trying to make a really long railway, trying to make a really long highway, and there's a couple different ways to score. Really, really great roll and write that has an online adaptation where you're essentially placing out little tiles that are the die
Yeah,
faces.
it's kind of a brilliant way to do it.
And it's really, really works well. But this is a game where it's like you roll out the 4 die, everyone has to choose those 4 die. And it's just putting them where you can, or putting them in the best spot is just like so hard. And by the end of it, you always are like, I need such specific rolls, and you're not going to get them.
Yeah.
And there's ways of like mitigating stuff to a degree. And there's ways where you can change, like there's die faces that change a highway into a railway. So you can like,
stations.
yeah, so you can like mix them and stuff. And it gets really, really cool. It's really fun, brutal little roll and write that, we used to bring out a lot because it was one of the first roll and writes we got,
hasn't made an
and we
appearance in
haven't
a
pulled
while.
it out as much because we just got a lot more roll and writes, but it's a really great game, and we actually play it on our live stream sometimes with the chat, and we got to bring that back because it was a really fun time. But Railroad Inc. With the patrons on Tabletopia, really great time on Tabletopia, works super well, really really fun game.
That's awesome. Up next, we got Dinosaur Island, which is a 2-player, all mostly card version of Dinosaur Island, the thing I like about it is 2 players specifically, and it's snappy. It moves real quick. There's a kind of a drafting phase where there'll be different dice that give you DNA, maybe allow you to draw cards and stuff, and there'll be like a little bonus that'll be attached to that, and there will be some specialists and stuff. So if Nick is the first player, he chooses what dice go with what bonuses, what specialists we have and stuff, but then I get first crack at everything. I get to pick my first die or something. So Nick is trying to sort of make a market that he gets what he wants while denying what I want. And the thing I love about this is you got multi-use cards. Cards can become dinosaurs, or they can go to the bottom of your player board to become attractions of various sorts, which give you bonuses within the game. Dinosaurs give you excitement, which give you points. And then the things I love is like just how quick it is to multi-use cards, and the fact that specialists in Dinosaur Island can be very useful. But they're always sort of a secondary or tertiary
for us at least.
Which is like maybe not ideal. But in this one, the specialists there's new specialists all the time, and they're right in front of you, so they become really central to the game, which is really fun. I did not do particularly well, but I really enjoyed Duelosaur Island. It's one of those things that it's hard to replace Dinosaur Island because it's such a big game, but it's also like takes up your whole table and stuff. And so I really am always, every time I play Duelosaur Island, I'm kind of like, man, I think a lot of times I would just rather play Duelosaur Island because I can get it done so much quicker.
You can, but I'm still so not that way. But Duelosaur Island is a great 2-player adaptation where it feels like Dinosaur Island, but it feels also like a completely different game, which is really, really nice. Duelosaur Island is great. We played Dungeon Pets, keeping on the monsters.
A minute.
Yeah, it had been a while to play Dungeon Pets. Dungeon Pets is a great worker placement game, big Vladislav game. Despite its very cutesy kind of theme and look to it, it's actually a pretty heavy game. This is a game that we got in the very beginning of our board gaming collection. Just because the game looked cool, had a cool theme, and I heard it was really good. And then we got it, and it was way too heavy for us. Just way too heavy for us. But nonetheless, now we're vets, obviously, of the gaming, and so we can handle it no problem. And it's so good. It is a game that is just you're getting these you're running a monster pet store. You're getting these little monster pets, and you're trying to raise them to then sell them to prospective pet buyers, which are dungeon lords. And the dungeon lords all want different stuff. This one might want one that's really, really angry, and so you try to raise one that's really, really angry. And it's just really fun. But it's just about managing your pet's needs and then trying to cater that pet to these specific buyers. And man, when we played this game this last time, I just got. I think I killed a pet. One got lost to another dimension. It was real bad. Really great game though. I mean, Dungeon Pets is just one of the
really
best.
Cool theme around a decently heavy game. Super cool.
Really great game.
Jump cut.
All right, so the next one is one you played.
I did. Splotter Games has their own website that has their kind of
very
rudimentary but functional digital versions of their games. I played Food Chain Magnate over the internet. That actually worked really well. It kind of worked that everything in the design looked very rudimentary because Food Chain Magnate looks like hot ass.
Yeah, it does. It looks like garbage.
It looks horrible and really old-timey. So it kind of worked perfectly. But we played a 2-player game of it, and this was only my second play of it over my life, and I ended up winning, but I can't even claim.
You won?
Yeah, I can't even claim because it was my prowess. I didn't realize that I did some very good moves. So in this game, you're trying to run a restaurant business, and it's kind of cool because you start with your CEO, and your CEO has the ability to hire people, and then you hire people. You end up building a pyramid of workers. And you can get workers that maybe will make a burger. You get a burger cook, and then you can upgrade them to a burger chef. And they can make more burgers every round, or more pizza, or you can get an errand boy and get people to go get drinks and deliver drinks and things. And you're basically doing all these things, advertising to homes that are on a board that gets placed out, and advertise different types of food and stuff, which then inform the citizens of what they want. So now they'll have needs based off the advertising they're seeing, and you want to be the restaurant that's providing that exact thing they need. So they come to your store, and then the way the roads and the boards kind of set out is nice. It's there's actual roads and stuff, and a perspective eater will go to the closest restaurant that fulfills their needs. But one thing I can do, and this is how I won, is I made my stuff cheaper. I undercut on price. They'll drive further for a cheaper price.
You're not wrong.
And stuff. And so it's a game where I am incredibly interested to dig in more and learn more because like I'm barely hanging on as I play. And it's like I ended up doing like some really cool stuff, but I didn't realize that I was going to sneak business because I'm just like trying to survive.
You just gotta fail upwards, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a really fun game. It's really interesting. I really want to play it again, and it goes really quick at 2 players, or it can rather.
Yeah.
Go very fast, which is cool.
I do want to try it.
Food Chain Magnate, highly recommend if you're interested in a game that's like, I don't quite understand what the heck I'm doing at all. But I'm having a good time, and I want to learn more.
I love it. Next game we played was Grand Austria Hotel. So Grand Austria Hotel is an incredibly good game where you are building out your own.
So good.
You did. I did horrible in this game. I had a bad month of playing games, apparently. Grand Austria Hotel we played this one on stream. Really great game where you are building out your own little hotel, and you have different guests that are coming up, and you can bring them into your cafe because you have a cafe at the bottom of your hotel. And then if you take care of their needs, you get them the coffee they want some wine, they want some cake, they want some strudel, whatever, then they'll go and stay in your hotel. And you're essentially trying to fill up the different rooms in your hotels, filling up blocks of rooms because there are red guests, yellow guests, or blue guests, and you want to fill these blocks of like blue rooms, which will give you more stuff. And it's just this tough game where all the actions are done with dice. So you roll out a bunch of these dice, and then depending on what the pips are, they get aligned by all the 1s are here, all the 2s are here, 3, 4, 5s, and 6.
Yep.
And then the 1 dice does something. It gives you cake and strudel. The 2 die gives you wine and coffee.
And wine, yeah.
3 die allows you to open rooms and stuff like that. But then how good that action is depends on how many dice are there.
The more the better.
There are 5 1s there, and I take a 1, that means I get to do that action 5 times. Because I can get 5 cake and strudel and stuff like that. You're like, oh, great. So it's one of those things where it's like, there's so often where you need there to be a lot of 3s because I need to do a lot of this stuff. And then you're like, okay, I really need to do 3s, but look how much cake I could get. That's a lot. And so it just pulls you in all these different directions, and it's such a hard, the hotel business is hard. It's hard to manage.
It's about adaptation because you have to go with what dice are there.
Yeah.
You're like, well,
there's no wine.
How can I deal with this? Like, what can I do? What can I do? You know?
Oh, it's so good.
It's really good.
It's great. Grand Austria Hotel, check it out. It's wonderful. I know we love every game. It's hard.
It's so good. Next we got Hodari.
Really good
which
game.
is sort of people compare to like 7 Wonders and stuff. It doesn't play out.
It doesn't feel like 7 Wonders at all. I don't know why people make that comparison.
Well, I think because you're building a tableau of stuff in front of you.
Then every tableau game is 7 Wonders.
People would argue that. So Hodari is a game where you're going through 3 epics. You're building out a tableau of cards in front of you that will ultimately push you up different tracks.
Yeah.
There's a military track, an income track, culture and agriculture, and then there's a tech. Purple cards that give you abilities and stuff like that. They don't have their own track. And all you're trying to do is, ideally, you go up every track a ton.
Yep.
It's probably easier to focus a little bit on certain colors and stuff, but you basically it's kind of money management.
Yeah.
Because you need to have money to buy these cards. And the thing I really love is there's 2 different phases to every round. There's 3 rounds, 2 phases in each round. And in phase A, everyone gets to draw, and you kind of go around, simultaneously draw all of the different colors. So you'll get 2 greens to start. And what you do with those 2 greens, you choose 1 to discard, face up to a discard pile, and choose 1 to either buy or throw away for money. Mm-hmm. And then you do that for all 5 cards, and then you end up with these discard piles. And then in phase B, after you've got some money and stuff, then you go in turn order and you buy or ditch a card for money based off of all the face-up discard piles. But now I don't have to go around. I can just do red every time as long as there's red cards available, or go in whatever order I want. And you're just building up over these 3 rounds, trying to get money, military, so you can get these colonies, and everything is just basically do this thing to get points. Do that thing to get points. And it's great.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's so fun. I can't wait for... There's expansion stuff, so I don't know when it's going to be
coming
available.
Over across the pond, yeah. But it's a really good game. Really good game. Next one was a little print and play we played. It's still in the prototype phase nonetheless, but it is a game called Night Class, where you are essentially a superhero and you're playing out like a little scenario.
Yeah, you're fighting bad guys.
You're out there fighting bad guys. You're rolling out dice and you're doing it. And this is a game that still has a bit of a way to go, but it is, again, it's not a finished game. This is a print and play. We did a stream where we did a bunch of print and plays. Another one will come up soon. And this one was the concept there is really, really cool
Yeah.
in terms of like you're a superhero and you're playing out like a little superhero scenario.
Sort of a superhero in training.
Yeah, kind of, you know. And you're like moving around. The different pips can do different things. You're like moving around. You can like level up your hero to like do more damage. You're essentially trying to take down like the big boss guy.
Yeah.
And it was a cool little thing that I'm excited to see it develop further because I think this could be a really cool little idea where they can kind of just keep coming out with new heroes, new scenarios, and it'd be really fun.
Scenarios already, and there will be more. But it was very fun to kind of. I felt like you're in a little comic book, but you're kind of moving the comic book elements around and beating up thugs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a really fun idea that I hope gets some work. You know, you need to dough a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't a finished game. Yeah,
yeah,
so.
but Night Class was like interesting. I was just like, that's a cool way to do a roll and write. That's a different thing. We're starting to see that there's like a pinball one and stuff where it's a roll and write, but you're like playing pinball. I'm like, that's cool. Like, let's just get weird now. See what you can make into a roll and write. Or
roll and writes, you can do a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
So Night Class, a good little game. I'm really excited for the future with that one. Yeah. We played Pagoda, great little two-player game.
Oh man, I crushed it this well. I had a good month.
You did.
So Pagoda, you were playing out cards to build pillars, build floors, and ultimately build pagodas. And this is a game that I like because every turn you're going to score points.
Yes.
At least a couple.
You literally could not.
You can't not score points because you're playing out cards to play pillars, build floors, and stuff like that. And basically, if you build pillars on something that's a couple floors high, each pillar's worth like 2 or 3 points now, instead of just 1 if it's on the ground. And you're trying to complete pagodas to get these points. And then every time you build a floor, once every floor has 4 pillars, you can build another floor and go up. You get to kind of charge up these powers that you can use 2 times, which can, now I can play these cards to get a different colored pillar instead of having to match a green to a green, stuff like that. So it's like simple and fun and satisfying because you're just always getting points. You're always doing
something. Getting powers, you're using them, you're getting them right back.
Yeah.
It's quick, it's very tactical. It's by AEG that's kind of just flown completely under the radar. No one ever really talks about it or plays it. It's always on like our top 10 underrated games type thing. We always talk about it because it's a great game.
And it's a 2-player specific game, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, it's just great. Pagoda's wonderful. Check it out. Next game I played Mechs vs. Minions again because, again, as I brought Legendary back home so I could play with my roommate, I brought Mechs vs. Minions back home because he likes League of Legends, he likes like WoW, those types of games. And so we played Mechs vs. Minions, and we roped in his wife, Sam, to play as well. She plays games, but not too much. And we were in a game playing mood, all 3 of us, and so I broke that out, and we actually had a really good time playing Mechs vs. Minions. Just kind of solidifying, like, man, this is a good programming game. It's just so fun to just like roll around and like destroy all these minions, and then just like you're constantly getting hit and getting messed up. But it's a co-op programming game where you're programming your minion, trying to do some kind of scenario. All the scenarios are different. Yeah. You're doing different stuff. Really, really fun game and just the most ridiculous production ever. But Mechs vs. Minions, if you have a chance, give it a shot because it is a fun little programming game.
By little meaning humongous.
Humongous.
Sweet. I played a game with patrons. I played a game of Raccoon Tycoon.
Indeed.
Over Tabletopia.
Indeed.
With people.
With the patrons.
Yeah, which is cool. This is a fun, like, super simple game. Ultimately, it's a set collection game via auctioning and stuff like that. And so you're, on your turn, can play a card to get some resources and then also increase the market value of certain resources. You can sell resources of a type for whatever the market value is. Cost, I can sell 3 wood for $8 a piece, get $24, and then the market drops on that product because now you've flooded it with product. You can hold auctions to get railroads, which are these different animals that are super fancy and stuff, and that's the set collection element. If there's 4 of each type, so if I get 4 big bears, it's going to be worth more than if I have 1 big bear. So you're trying to specialize, and then you can use resources to get towns, which are worth points on their own, and they can also pair with railroad cards to give +2 points.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's the whole game. This is a game that there's an expansion coming out, or maybe is out now, the Fat Cat expansion. I really want to get that.
You said you're kind of cooling on it.
I'm cooling on the game a little bit because it's just super simple. Like, there's not a
ton
lot
going
to
on.
do. The buildings are really cool that you can build. That's the other thing you can do is build buildings, and that's probably my favorite part of the game. But, like, I'm kind of like, okay, I did all the stuff in this game. I'm done. So, and that's not like the end of the world. We got it for cheap at Barnes & Noble. But there's an expansion. I would love to see what that expansion offers to see if it kind of infuses the game with a little more blood, gives it maybe a little more meat to kind of sink my teeth back into.
Cool.
But yeah. Raccoon
All right.
Tycoon.
Next one, again, we played a lot of games on like Tabletopia because we are isolated. So,
Nerds.
so now we played Raiders of the North Sea with one of our good friends on Tabletopia. A really great game that I am horrible at, and I just am. I almost got lapped. I'm so bad at this game, and it does. This is one of the things. Like I generally don't care if I'm bad at a game, but I'm so bad at this game that it does a little bit mess with my enjoyment of it because I'm so horrible at it.
That's fair.
And there's not very many games like that, but there are a couple where
It's
I'm
funny, you didn't
so
do as bad
bad
as you thought, but like the buddy and I that we played with on Tabletopia, we each have a lot more experience with it and recent experience, and so
I'm just bad at it, which is fine. And I usually don't care, but every once in a while I get a game I'm so terrible at that I'm like, God, this is starting to affect my enjoyment just a little bit, but I still really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's great. It's got this cool thing of you only ever have one worker.
Yeah.
And you place a worker, do that action. You pick up a worker from somewhere else and do that action. So you do 2 actions on a turn. The place a worker, get a worker, and there's certain color workers that can go to certain spaces to do different things. It's a really brilliantly simple.
Yeah.
I love it.
Really good game.
Just a really cool kind of twist on worker placement.
Yeah. Next thing we played was Sanctum. This is a new game by CGE. This is essentially a dungeon
dungeon crawler.
Yeah, where you're essentially running up this kind of pathway of spaces, getting to the demon lord, and you go to a big end boss fight, and you win or you lose, kind of thing. And
we lost.
We did lose. I played this again the other night. We both made it through. I ended up losing it again because David had a little bit more health than I did. But nonetheless, you essentially, each person has a character, and you are leveling up that character. You have a bunch of different skills that you can level up as you kill demons.
Get skills, get armor and stuff.
Yeah, and you have items. You're fighting all these demons. On the other side of the demons are items, which you have like a chest plate. You have like weapons. You have like a helmet. You get all this stuff, and so you're essentially building out your character, just trying to get ready for the last fight.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like it really feels like a Euro game because like you get a sword, and what it does is it gives you the ability to use focus and or stamina to basically manipulate dice rolls. So it's like such a Euro thing. Or you get like this helmet, you can put stamina on it to block damage and stuff. So it's like really cool and feels fun and thematic while being just a fun little kind of dice roller. Yeah. Dice allocation.
Really good though. I was very surprised at how much I liked it. I really loved it.
Really fun game. Sanctum's awesome.
Sanctum's awesome. Seif.
They played a game of Seif on Steam. We played a 5-player game aside, and it was super duper fun. I was reminded once again that I'm awful at it. I like jumped out and had all these stars really early, and then just like sort of like, okay, I gotta do a couple things. I don't really have wood, and then someone was just like in 2 turns got 3 stars, ended the game, and I lost. Like I don't know what happened with that game.
Yeah.
I really like it, but I have lost my way completely inside.
Completely lost your way.
Lost my way.
It's a great game though. That's also a game that like I feel like I either open well or close well, but I can't do both.
Can't put together a whole game.
Yeah, can't do both. I can open well or close well, cannot do both. Besides, it's a great game. Another game that I played with our patrons, I played on Tabletopia, is Everdell. Everdell's got a great implementation on Tabletopia. We've been talking about this game a lot with Matty J of This Game is Broken fame.
J.
And it's just been making me want to play it. And so I was like, I want to play it. I want to play a game with patrons. That's what we're playing.
Yeah.
And Everdell is a great little engine builder, tableau builder, where you're essentially putting out critters, putting out buildings, and building out your engine. All the critters and buildings do different stuff. Some of them will trigger multiple times. Some of them are one-time use. And you're building out your city of like little anthropomorphized animals. The art is so good. This is just base game Everdell. And I was just reminded about how much I freaking love that game. It's just so simple and so easy and just like
goes down smooth.
I really like it a lot. Everdell is a great little worker placement, engine builder, tableau builder game. A bunch of little stuff going on. And I love it, and I like it more and more and more. I want to try the next 2 expansions, because I like the Pro expansion, but it's okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all right.
And I want to try the other 2 expansions, Belfair and Spirecrest, because I heard they're pretty good. Nonetheless, Everdell with the patrons, really, really great. So much fun.
And just a ripper of a time. We played Succulent here, which is a Renegade game where you are building out gardens. We're all building out on the same garden area and putting flowers down to sort of claim sections of garden for yourself. And then based on like what you cover up, I believe, you can get some different things. You're trying to get clippings, little of different colors and stuff to then basically fulfill contracts and then fill out these cards. We got to turn in the right amount of color clippings. of the right thing, and you get some points and stuff, and get maybe a little in-game ability bonus that you can place down as well. It was a cool game. It definitely had some graphic design problems. Like there was definitely certain cards where like one of the clippings was like black and other ones are very dark brown. I'm like, are these supposed to be different colors? Are these the same colors? Just in general, it's not colorblind friendly at all.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's a bummer. There's a few like mistakes if you're like,
it's one of those things where
it should be better.
To me it's tough when a game is difficult to play because of something like graphic design. I'm just like, yo,
it was a fun play, but it was like a bit of a slog because it's a pretty simple game. But we're like, is that color? Okay, cool.
We were playing somewhat low light, but even then, it's like the colors and stuff could have been a little bit improved. But nonetheless, I liked the game. It was just like
it was cool. You have this little kind of greenhouse board that you put these little water drops on. And you can basically remove a section's water drops to get kind of like a bonus clipping of whatever color. So like there's some cool little things in it. Overall looks nice, but some of those graphic design things were frustrating. So that was kind of like...
It was tough.
You know, some hit, some miss.
Yeah, it was okay. Next game, we got to play Teto, Obelisk of the Sun.
Obelisk of the Sun.
We got to play this with Rainer from Board and Dice. And this was the next game from that team who made like Teotihuacan and all that kind of stuff. And I liked it a lot.
He demoed it. He's kind of running out demos and stuff. So this is over Tabletopia.
Yeah.
And this one you're kind of working on many different areas potentially to score. There's kind of this cool round central area that has dice and stuff, and this obelisk that will be in the middle of it that's casting shadow on certain areas. And basically, whatever areas are in shadow, the dice will kind of move around, or certain dice will be in favor versus other dice. And so based on what's in the light, what's in the dark, you might want to take, and then certain colored dice at times matter. You're taking dice to do various different actions that basically in each little section of the pie will pertain to this action, to that action, to this action. And again, it's a game that ideally like you would build up all in every area, but there's
hard.
There's it's kind of like hard to remember. Like you can build statues and you can build. Yeah, Nick did win. He did very well. But it was very cool. It was one that as I was playing, I was like, man, I really want to play this again soon so that I can learn a little more, to be able to explain a little more. But right out the gate, I love Teotihuacan. I was just like, oh, Teto, for my money, is going to be a rival. It feels false. It feels like Teotihuacan in some ways. There's not the rondel thing with the dice, but you're building up stuff, but it's very different in its own way. Didn't like it as much as Teotihuacan?
No. I liked it.
Oh, man, I liked it so much.
I liked it, too. It's not Teotihuacan. And you're right. We played it once. We have to play it again.
I want to play it again real bad.
Teotihuacan has been rising up the ranks. That being said, the next game we played was Teotihuacan, so we just go ahead and talk about it. Teotihuacan has been rising up the ranks for me. I love Teotihuacan so much. Every time I play it, I like it even more.
Yeah.
It's a game, and you have a rondel, you have dice, and then your dice can move around the board, and where they land, they do that action. You're getting resources, then you're building the city of Teotihuacan. And I like it so much. And it's like...
Especially the late pre-classic period expansion.
Yeah, the expansion's great. And it's like one of these, like, people are constantly like, Teotihuacan or Teto, they're not similar. Like, they're not really similar at all. Teotihuacan has simpler actions. Teotihuacan, there's actually not much to do. There's only a couple different spots you can go to.
Yeah,
there's only so much to do, but figuring out how to link things is much more difficult. Teto has much more going on, but I feel like the linking is more straightforward. Yeah. I liked Teto a lot, and I think I'm going to like it a lot. I really want to get it. I'm really excited to play it. I don't think, as of right now, it's not on the same level as Teotihuacan for me.
That face is someone who enjoys
this guy, I think, is going to feel different. I like Teotihuacan much better at this point, but I do like Teto a lot. Next one, we actually have a string of Board and Dice right here.
So some of these are listed alphabetically, and Board and Dice likes to put T's for their names. So all Board and Dice is lumped together. This is Traintopia, another new one for us. This is a simple kind of more family weight game where you're building out different tiles that will make tracks of
little train routes,
little train routes and stuff like that with different features on the land. It's sort of Carcassonne-ish, where you got to make, like a track can't just run into grass. That wouldn't make sense. So you have to kind of do that. And then you can score. This is where it gets really fun, is you can score different parts of your track, but each time you can only score at one time.
Yeah.
So like there's certain types of commuters, and they want to have like a yellow commuter wants to have like yellow features all around the track.
Yep.
So if you get a bunch of yellow features along this track, and then there's a yellow commuter, might want to plop that down and score it. But once there's a yellow commuter, we can't put another yellow
On that track.
on that track. So it's kind of choosing like, when do I score this? Do I try to build it out longer to really maximize the scoring? Do I take what I can get now and start working on something else? So it's a family weight game that got kind of puzzly.
There's also a snake draft in terms of like getting the commuters and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, do I get it now? Do I wait? And you're getting tiles, and you're doing this constant back and forth snake draft to get all the stuff. And there's gonna be something that's left over. And it was we read the rule book, and I was kind of just like, okay, this seems fine. And then we played it, and I liked it much more than I was expecting.
Yeah,
I was very pleasantly surprised.
well
it was much
done
more
game.
thinky than I thought it was gonna be, and it was quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah, Traintopia is really cool. Check it out. I think it's coming out or out soon to people.
Yeah.
I played a game of Welcome to with our friends that we played Wavelength with. So I had kind of the game set up. They have their own copy of the game, and I just told them like what cards we have, and they were able to play along from their location as well. Welcome to, this was nice because the first couple games I ever played of Welcome to, I did very well. And I think the problem that happens with that game is that you start thinking.
You start getting too big
you
for your
start
britches?
thinking that you're smart, but you ain't smart. And you're not as clever as you think. And so I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this tricky thing. And just like I put together a string for like the last year and a half of horrible games of Welcome to.
Yeah.
And finally, the other day, I brought it back together, and I just
brought it back home.
crushed. I did so good. And I was just like, yes, finally. I did the things I was trying to do, and I did
you start
well.
thinking that you can pull stuff out when you can't.
cannot.
You're like, I'll put this here. It'll be
Again,
fine. I'll be able to make it work.
The
And
thing
you're like,
I
nope.
always say is just like, there's only 2 more spaces on the street, and you're like, I think I'm gonna get into the park game on the street. And you're like, why? It's too late for that. Why are you doing this? You know. But Welcome to, super fun flip and fill,
roll and
right game where you're building a suburb. We love it. It's one of our absolute favorites.
Yeah,
it's
it's good.
probably my number 2 at this point. Like Cartographers might be the number 1, but it's right up there.
It's good.
For roll and write. It's fantastic.
Yeah, really good. Next one, this is probably on my list every month here for a bit, and that is Wingspan, and that is because my roommates, particularly my roommate Sam, she loves this game. This is a game that I played with David a couple times, and she would always kind of be like, what's that bird game?
We're doing them bird.
You got cute birds in there? I'm like, yeah, there's cute birds over here. And she's like, interesting. We should play that bird game sometime. I'm like, we should play that
come
bird
on
game.
down.
So we played it, and she loves this game. And so we've played it a bunch of times. It's kind of become one of our go-to games to play. And it's great. Wingspan, it like swept the Golden Geeks. It won family game, it won strategy game, it won most innovative game, which I'm like, I don't know how innovative it was, but
all right.
it won everything.
Most game with eggs.
Most game with birds and eggs,
Eggiest
obviously
game.
unique birds. Nonetheless, Wingspan's a great game, engine builder game. You probably know what it is. No need to go into it, but I really
Best game with the necessary dice tower.
That's true. I love it. Don't even use it anymore. Just leave it to the side.
It's cool. Very cool.
I love Wingspan, and it helps that my roommates really love it as well. I want to play it a lot. It's really, really great.
What else did you play with your roommates, Nick?
Another game I played with roommates. Again, I brought home a bunch of co-op games to play with the
nothing else
roommates.
to do right now.
And I was like, you know what to do? We're in isolation. My roommates like co-ops. We could spend a couple weekends doing this. I'm gonna bring home Seventh Continent, and I brought home Seventh Continent, and I was reminded yet again how much I freaking love that game. That's a game that I will play like once every 6 months, and I don't even care. It's always gonna be in probably my top 20, at least until we go through all the curses, because it is so much fun. This is a game where you are stranded on some kind of island somewhere.
Some way or other.
You're cursed, and you got to find out how to release your curse.
Decursify
You got
yourself.
to decurse. You got to decursification yourself.
Get a decurse on.
Exactly. You know, his decurse little mask on, and so and the curse is somewhere. You got to figure out what it is. So like,
you don't even know
you're
where to
essentially
go.
looking for different clues, and you're always on the same continent no matter what curse you're playing. But depending on the
Just
curse,
the brilliance of the game.
you go to this spot and there'll be a little symbol, but that symbol has nothing to do with your curse. So you're like, all right, whatever. But then next time you're playing a different curse, you go at the same spot. All of a sudden that symbol means something.
like, I think-
and then it makes you turn on this other card. And all of a
I
sudden
think I remember something over there.
you're in a cave and you're like, I've never been in this cave before. This is so cool. And like we played it a ton over the span of like 2 weekends and ended up getting the curse off. And it was so much fun. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy we decided to play this again because this is so, because there was a spot that you and me had gone to before.
Oh.
In a previous curse.
Didn't mean anything.
And did this thing, didn't happen. We're like, all right, we went all the way up here for no reason, wasting a bunch of time and energy.
Yeah.
And this is a spot where we had to go for this curse. So I'm like, oh, I've been up here before. And then we did this thing, and this whole other thing happened because it was a spot that we needed to be for this specific curse. And I was just like, oh, and then we went to this whole area and did all this crazy. I was just like, oh, this is so amazing. And they loved it, and they wanted to play. Cool. So, like, literally finished the curse, and then immediately, we'd already been playing for a couple hours. Sam, she was just like, let's start another one right now. I was just like, let's play something else. And that was also the first night when I was like, let's play something else. Let's not start a whole new curse right now. And so we played Wingspan instead, which then Wingspan became the thing that we've been playing a lot. But 7th Continent is so freaking good. And now at this point, I'm so bummed that our expansion got sent to our old apartment and now is gone.
We need to figure out how to fix that problem.
We got the expansion back on Kickstarter, then moved, and then it went to our old place, and now it's gone to oblivion. But nonetheless, 7th Continent, it's great. Oh, it's so good. Next up. We're almost done, Mikey.
Jump cuts next. All right, moving right along, we had Suburbia, the Collector's Edition, which replaced our normal edition. We backed that Kickstarter and got all the fancy stuff.
This is another positive review, because obviously we like this game. We got the Collector's Edition.
Yeah, we didn't back a collector's version of a game that we like because we hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but this one basically is Suburbia has all the expansions, including a new expansion in like game trays and super fancy and nice. Like we've never really done that, so we're like, let's treat ourselves. We're not
really collector's editions kind of gals.
No, not really. But we're like, hey, Suburbia is a really good game that we love. It's a tile laying game where you're building out a suburb, and it's all about like adjacency. Like certain tiles want to be adjacent to other tiles, and you're hoping to get your income up to buy more tiles and stuff, and you want your reputation to be very high because you ultimately want people to move in. Yep. People are your points. The more population folks you have, the higher your population, the higher your score, you win the game. So you want to build up these two kind of incomes of a sort, money and people, and you're trying to get them to come on in, and there's just every tile is just cool the way that it interacts with your other tiles. Sometimes it might be things that are directly adjacent to it, things that are in the city, things that are in other people's cities. And the Collector's Edition does a really good job of giving you these like little wooden bits, so I can quickly see if Nick has an airport because there'll be like a plane on it. Stuff like that. Nice. So Suburbia is just super fun. The Collector's Edition is big and crazy and silly. But it's really fun. So that is Suburbia. What's next?
Next was the other game in that kind of prototype print and play roll and write thing we did in there is Rolling Realms. This is the Stonemaier roll and write that Jamie's kind of working through with the people, which I think is kind of a cool little thing.
Ever in development.
Yeah, and it's a roll and write based off of all of Stonemeier's games. And they're essentially a bunch of little mini games. You play through 3 rounds. There's 9 games, and each round you're playing 3 of the games. You're playing like Viticulture, Between Two Castles of Manneken Ludwig, and Tapestry. And they're all 3 little mini games. And the next round you play 3 other ones until you play all 9 of the realms. Yeah. And they all play differently, score differently, and it's honestly a cool little roll right.
Within each round, you'll roll 2 dice 9 times, and you have to allocate those dice to different of the realms. You can't put both onto Tapestry. You have to move them around and kind of build up things. And it's just really, really fun. And the cool thing is like it's gone through, I don't even know. I mean, 9 versions.
When we played it, it was 8
version 8. I think it's been a couple more since then, and Jamie's like refined things. Things have gone through massive changes, and it's just kind of a cool peek into the design process. And I think that's the kind of purpose. It's just like I'm going to sort of make stuff that people can play
because it's free. It's not like you're not buying it each time. Yeah,
you can play with me, and I'll sort of change stuff, and we'll just sort of like get feedback and do this thing together. It's been really fun to explore. So Rolling Realms, check it out. It's free. You can literally play on your computer in Photoshop or print it out and play it. Yeah, it's a cool game.
Yeah. Next game we played was Queens, to be or not to be. Queens with a Z. It's a Brukus Kutugel's game.
With the double E.
Yeah, indeed. This is a great polyomino kind of set collection game where you have this central board of flowers, different orchids, and you have a gardener that's moving around. Wherever the gardener is, you can take flowers in that row or that column. And you're essentially trying to build out your little tableau, which has some polyomino tiles in it, that you are then trying to essentially make groups of orchids that your bees can then go pollinate. And this is a really, really good game that I was surprised because it's pretty darn simple and it's really thinky.
Yeah, really simple because the fields, you want to have enough orchids to fill a field, and the fields are weird, so you want to ultimately get groups of all pink, and if you can expand on a pink, you can score pink again and stuff. But you also want to get all the colors because you can get this diversification bonus. And there's little beehives you can put in which help fill out your fields, and then also they'll score for the bees that are on the flowers around it. So there's like these a couple little things to focus on, and it's incredibly simple. You're either taking bees, orchids rather, or filling a field.
Yep,
that's it. And then you go through until someone fills 5 fields. You finish out that round, and then you score up, and it's just like cool little game with some puzzles, kind of like a perfect Bruno Catala level game, family weight, but creates a nice little experience.
Yeah, really good. I thought I was gonna like it, but I liked it even more than I was expecting to.
Couple more here. I did a quick game of Cartographers just to myself on Tabletopia. I was just like, I want to play something. It's
a great roll right.
Played and
best roll right around. Yeah.
So good. Cartographers is excellent. You're building a map based on these cards and stuff that have weird shapes and stuff. You're dealing with monsters, and you're trying to build out stuff to satisfy these 4 different scoring conditions, only 2 of which will be in any one round. Each one will score twice. It's a brilliant game. Absolutely
great
brilliant.
Roll right.
A lot about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it a ton. It's great. And last but not least is Stop Thief. Stop Thief is a game by Restoration Games, and it's not on here just because we're in the game. We are, though. It's very exciting.
We're in the game.
But nonetheless, Stop Thief is a great co-op. Well, it's a bunch of different ways you can play it, but we always play a co-op game where you are hunting down a group of thieves who are going around stealing stuff. I actually played this with my roommates again because, again, they like co-ops. And so played this with the roommates, introduced Sam to it, and it was just a fun game. We're rolling around trying to catch thieves. The whole thing is done through an app, and the whole thing is done through audio clues. So you hear the thieves are walking through a door, and you're essentially trying to hunt them down because you don't know exactly where they are, and you're essentially trying to catch them all before they steal $50,000. And it is just so much fun. I love this game to death. The new version now makes the co-op version harder because that's how a lot of people play it, which is really, really nice. Check out Stop Thief. It's just a great game. We talked about it a ton. It's a really, really, really fun game with a really cool app integration. So that is going to be it. Those are all the games we played this month. Quick recap. We played 64 different plays of games, which is pretty good for a 1 month. Now, again, that's between 2 people, but that's pretty darn good.
That's not bad.
We played total different games was 38.
38 different games.
38 different games, and 12 of them were new, which is actually more than I was expecting because we're social distancing. We're not out playing a lot of new games, and so I'm actually surprised I'm surprised we were actually able to get that many new ones played. Yeah. That's a third of the games that we played were new.
There's some stuff that's been kicking around the house for a while that finally we dusted off and tried out for the first time. Before we go, we had some new patrons that joined us in April. Thank you to all of our patrons. We just want to give a quick shout out to our new as of April patrons. We got Jonathan, we got Sean L, we got Mike, we got Winterson, we got Abe Rang, we got Sasha Knippig, we got Ben Anderson, Brian Rydell, and Slackfish. Thank you to you for being new patrons to us. Thank you to all of our patrons who have supported us for a good long while. If you want to see us do this and do bigger and better things, consider checking out our Patreon and supporting today. And
we're going to shout out our new patrons every month on Rapid Reviews. So if you're a new patron, you will get a shout out if you're comfortable with that, of course.
All of our patrons get shout outs during all of our top 10. So come on down.
Indeed. So that is going to be it for Rapid Reviews. It was a great month of gaming. We got another month coming up, May right here. It's going to be another good one, hopefully.
Absolutely, folks. I can't wait to do another one of these. Just keep in mind, it's a tough time. So stay safe, stay inside. For the record, because we've had to clarify this a couple times, anything we've played has either been digitally or just at our home.
Yeah.
That's it. We're not like at Starbucks playing games. But there is a way to keep playing games using Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator.
Or just FaceTime.
Playing with the people you live with, finding clever ways to do FaceTime. So keep playing games, friends.
Yeah.
And we will see you in the next Rapid Reviews next month.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.